So we started to stay off interesting, but we got a little ledge here. We got the bridge. Anyways, this is like a balance beam. But I got perfect balance. Anyways, I'm gonna update you guys on the little morning faux show. What occurred this morning here. And once I get off this ledge, that's why I just make it to the end. I don't even need to use my hands to balance, bro. It's just easy. But yeah, all the way to the end. Anyways, let me update you. So the morning started of me sharing my professional opinions to the health industry. I stay in a warm shelter where I'm surrounded by social workers all the time. And they started me sharing my professional opinions of helping people. And instead of, teaching them the correct way to manage emotions, as opposed to throwing them on medication and having the medication numb them to the point where they don't feel emotions. See, the human condition is very, very beautiful, which means being a human is extremely beautiful. And within the human condition and the human experience, emotions are meant to be felt. As long as, you can manage them and convert negative emotion into positive emotion. And that's what I shared this morning. Anyways, and I know the law as well. I read up on it. I used AI, Google's AI, to research it. And essentially, Google's AI pulls information from the internet, and legal language of every book of law is on the internet. So what Google's AI does when you research something is it puts it into plain English. Mind you, some of the information is wrong, yes. However, legal language isn't, because it's set in stone and is verified through legitimate sources, because it's the law. And Google's AI converts the legal language into something that is understood. Now, I was recognized as someone who is dangerous by such social workers because I understand the law, and I had a couple things to say about that, but I'll get into that in a little bit because it came up again when I was at Exxon. I got an Uber from where I was at the Warm Center to Exxon down the street. I'm sitting there, smoked a couple of cigarettes, took a power nap, meditated, had the blanket over me. Bought a Dunkin' coffee from Exxon, which I haven't bought in a long time. Actually, they go good with cigarettes. So, anyways, I'm sitting there and I get a call from the social worker at my previous place of doctor, and Gateway in Charlestown. I get a call, and she's asking me this, that, and the other thing. And pretty much the conversation ended up with like, how'd the psych eval go? And I'm like, well, I passed it with flying colors. They tried to say that I didn't. And she's like, what do you, and I was like, they tried to fudge the results. It's like, what do you mean by fudge? She's like, she had two questions. She said, what do you mean by fudge? And how do you know they tried to do that? And I said, well, I understand psychology because I use a complex form of psychology on myself to manage. And I said I could read nuances. I said, if you're completely nice and prove yourself, and then you get up and the doctor who interviewed you says, we got him, and then the nurse says, yeah, he's stupid, there's indication that they had bad intent, and that turns into criminal psychology at that point. And then, which, on a side note, I know I can't incriminate the health industry because they're a subcategory of the government. However, I can self-defend, and that's my goal here. Is just simply to self-defend and have them leave me alone. But it turns into bad intent, which allows me to prove my case to self-defend. And then I came back. And I was on the street, and I was proving to them. Oh no! Before I went out, I was at the security guard's office. And I said, well, based off of the factors here, I'm like, if you threaten my life, I have the ability to threaten the law. And then they said something else. I have the whole thing on video. Needless to say, I've proven that they tried to fudge it. Did they? That would be another question. You can't even use the language I use against me, because when you say someone tried to do something, that would be an attempt. How you verify if they actually did it would be verified through evidence. So that would be needed. That would be needed to be verified through security cam footage and paperwork. Which can be, actually, it can be. And then she brought up the court order for me to take medication, which last time we were in court was about 2 months ago, a month or two ago. Everything's a blur at this point. Everything happens so fast, and I have to protect myself every goddamn day against this shit. Something happens every day where I gotta protect myself. But regardless, a month or two ago, I had I was in the courtroom for medication, and I was like, if I'm safe, and the judge wanted to put me on medication. Gateway showed up. They wanted me on medication as well. And I said, listen, I asked the judge, I'm like, I got a question for you. I'm like, listen. I'm like, if I'm safe, if I'm a beautiful person, and I'm doing nothing wrong, why is there a need for medication? And she says, we're not answering that. And I was like, incriminated. And mind you, the Providence police were right there. They let me leave. They questioned the judge. I don't know what occurred to that. I don't care. Needless to say, I bought the respect of the Providence police right then and there. Then I stayed at Crossroads for a little bit in Providence. I have several videos of me there. And then I moved to West Warwick after that. And then I haven't been back since. Now, the judge stated that if I don't take my medication, we'll be back like next week, which I haven't been in like a month or two. And then the social worker's like, well, if you don't take your medication, your odds are you're going to end up in the hospital. Odds are you're going to end up on medication. And I'm like, well, here's the thing. I've gained respect from the police force and the EMTs all around the state. Every town, every city. And I was like, if I needed medication, why am I not in the hospital? And then she didn't answer, and I was like, exactly. See where this is headed? And she's like, well, this is above me. And I'm like, I understand that. And then she said, well, I'm going to contact the lawyer, and I'm going to, tell them that you're pushing for no medication. And I was like, okay, yeah, I have a lawyer too, and I actually know the law from front to back based off of everything that occurred. And she's like, how do you know the law? I was like, I studied it, and here's how. I was like, I use Google AI to translate legal language into something that is understood. And I said, legal language is all over the internet on verified sources. You can look up Rhode Island law and federal law. And she's like, well, what book did you study? And I said, everything that applies. And then she pushed it further, and she said, yeah, but what did you study? And I was like, I've already answered all your questions. I've already told you everything you need to know. I'm like, you're asking me the same thing that I just told you. I've already told you what is going on here. And essentially, that's the way the phone call went. And then I went in, I bought a lighter, I bought a coffee from Exxon. And that phone call lasted 10 minutes. And I'm sitting out there, I got a little bit irritated because I couldn't find my lighter. My lighter was underneath my backpack. So I chucked my cigarettes and a couple things out of my pocket on the ground, which I cleaned up. The place was spotless when I left. And they're like, I just got notification that the security are kicking you out. I don't want you to get in trouble. So if you could move along, please. And I was like, well, it seems like you don't know the way the law works. I'm like, they would just ask me to leave. There's no way I would get in trouble. And so I walked down the street. And I started saying, I'm like, apparently if you know the law, because I'm explaining the law, and I'm explaining, the people inside heard the whole thing because they have security, cameras out there and stuff, and everything can be verified on there as well. The time is 11 a.m., March 2nd, I believe. Hold on. Yeah, March 2nd, 2026. Anyways, that happened about 20 minutes ago. 30 minutes ago at Exxon. And essentially, I start going on and on as I'm walking off property. I'm like, apparently you're dangerous if you know the law. And I'm like, police officers, lawyers, detectives, anybody who knows the law is there to protect, themselves and protect others who are innocent. And I'm like, if you're scared of all three, you're likely doing something very entirely wrong. And I was like, I'm just here for self-protection, and that's all I'm trying to do. Protect my rights and protect who I am, and keep everybody safe and keep myself safe at the same time. I'm like, there's no need to be, why are people scared of me? Why do people think I'm a bad person? And I'm like, I'm just here to self-defend. I'm here to move on with my life. I don't want to keep going in this direction with everybody. And as I'm walking down the street, there was an individual who smiled at me and said, how's it going? I was like, good. And I could tell he was a very good guy. He was either a detective or a lawyer or an off-duty police officer. But yeah, I could read him like a book, and he was very happy with me. I continue walking, and a statey passes me, and I give him a wave, touch my heart, gave him a head nod. And then I walk down here to Dunkin', where I'm going to chill for the day. And then I'm going to contact my lawyer real quick, and all I have to do is send him video evidence, which I have every day on camera, every day on footage. This is my permanently fixed body cam to protect myself from what's going on here. And then all I have to, I don't need to explain myself other than the videos. So that actually cuts the chase. I don't need a free confrontation, free 30-minute session. I don't need that because the state already hired a lawyer for me. So I got to give them a call. I got to get everything in line with the evidence. And then today, and then the hour and a half footage from yesterday, we'll just simply verify what's been going on. I'm a 1%, already gained that respect from the court. I have the ability to circulate money as soon as I start several businesses, which means I'm very intelligent, very in tune with objective reality. Now, those who are very in tune with objective reality essentially have a huge success outcome, a huge success rate. Now, with that being said, I've already proven that to the court, every lawyer in the state, every police officer in the state, every EMT. So I'm protected and backed all the way through. I just simply need to contact them, make sure that, we're on the same page. And then my feet are actually feeling very good right now. The only thing that I have is really just friction burns from, not having soles. my feet. Someone stole my Dr. Scholl's, which I bought these shoes off of eBay for $60. They're Spazikes. They're originally $300 shoes. I bought them for $60. Only worn like one time. They had like one crease on one of the shoes. Very, very like, you couldn't even tell they were used. But they didn't have soles in them. And I bought Dr. Scholl's and threw them in. I've been wearing them ever since. But anyways, regardless of the matter, the evidence that has been going on here is I can send in my application to be a social worker. That would be part of the evidence that proves who I am in writing. And then I have this video, and then I have yesterday's video that is an hour and a half long, and that'll about sum everything up to a point. That's all the evidence I need, really. I've got really efficient at proving my case here. So that's why I practice. So when the time comes, I could gather everything in one spot, and I could self-defend to the fullest extent. So that's everything that's been going on. This is a pain in the ass entirely. And I'm not really happy with it. But after I call a lawyer, I'm going to call the box truck position, get my ass in a job. And then because I'm such a good person and so trustworthy and I could become a manager, what I'm going to do is ask if I can sleep I'm going to ask if I can sleep in the truck, which will actually allow me to not be homeless, which would be very good. Very good. So I have blankets. I should have grabbed the pillow. If the pillow is still there tonight at the warm shelter, I'm gonna grab the pillow, find a way to stuff that in my bag. But I have blankets, and I can't be comfortable. So needless to say, I think I bought my way off the street faster than I expected, and getting on my feet faster than I expected. So we're covered. I do have court on April 24th for the renewal of the medication. At this point, it's definitely not going to be renewed. I'm not going to need medication ever again. Already proven. And then the health industry leaves me alone, and I can start several businesses, and then nobody can ever touch my businesses again. If they do, they go to jail. So forewarning, don't mess with my businesses ever again, because you won't be able to. Especially if you're from New England, don't fuck with my businesses, because you're gonna end up in jail. Because if you mess with my businesses again, you're gonna take my life again, and that won't be appreciated. Anyways, I'm getting back on my feet, whether you like it or not. Anyways, God bless. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Take care.